Known famously as the weeping prophet, Jeremiah stands out as one of the most unique persons of the entire Bible. A son of Hilkiah, a priest of Anathoth, Jeremiah receives his call from God when he is very young, perhaps no more than 13 years of age. In fact, Jeremiah was the only prophet ever instructed by God not to pray for his own nation. God informs the boy that he will be the prophet of Judah's midnight hour, proclaiming the destruction and end of the Jewish nation. Such a task would be anything but easy. Delivering this message would officially make Jeremiah the most despised and persecuted Old Testament prophet. Worse still, although Jeremiah's ministry commenced during the reign of King Josiah, the subsequent 4 kings were anything but godly. Indeed, in Jerusalem's final hours, Jeremiah advises Zedekiah, the very last king of Judah, to surrender himself to the Babylonians, since God was employing Babylon as his tool of judgment. Jeremiah makes reference to Babylon as God's instrument of judgment over 160 times, more than the rest of Scripture combined. He also prophesied that the Babylonian captivity would only last 70 years. However, for this the prophet is branded a traitor and imprisoned. When the Babylonians do invade, King Zedekiah foolishly ignores Jeremiah's godly advice and attempts to escape. After he is captured 20 miles out of Jerusalem, he is forced to watch the death of his sons, then blinded and carried off to Babylon, never to return. As for Jeremiah, no other Old Testament prophet of God probably suffered as much as he did during his 40 years of ministry. He often found himself standing alone and opposed by people, false prophets, princes, and priests. He was mocked, whipped, accused, threatened, despised, hated, rejected, imprisoned, and cast into a pit. Later, the Babylonians freed him, apparently because they learned he had advised the leaders to surrender. It may have been during this lonely time in his decimated homeland that he wrote the Book of Lamentations, traditionally attributed to him. Known as the saddest book in the Bible, it's an eyewitness report of the siege and fall of Jerusalem, followed by the grief of a people with no nation. Interestingly, Jeremiah is the only prophet to give us an eyewitness account of Jerusalem's destruction, and records more about his own personal life than any other prophet. No wonder he is well remembered as the weeping prophet.